One moment, one moment. I'm not gonna keep anybody waiting. We jumping in straight tier 10s. Let's get it. Lots to discuss, man, when it comes to Div right now. New gear, new weapons, Dark Zone, PvE Dark Zones. I don't know what the deal is with that, man. PvE Dark Zone. Oof. Honestly, they should have just called it something else. Smash a like if you feel the same way. Nothing against PvE, man. Nothing against PvE or PvEers. You know what I mean? I got a lot of good agents who PvE. That's just, 98% of the game's PvE. Shout out to Plain Jane in the building. Looks like the squad is ready to get it on. Yo, Plain, what you think about this proto stuff, man? Let's talk about it, man. I mean, got proto gear. Some people say it's level 50 disguise. I could kind of see the argument, you know. Because I'm going to tell you one thing right now. One thing that's really true for me is a lot of my proto gear has replaced pretty much, I wouldn't say half of my high-end gear, but I'd probably say maybe a quarter, which is a lot of gear. It's a lot of pieces, man. If you guys have been around the channel for a while, you know 60 plus builds, PvE and PvP. We really does this, man. We really does this. Long weekend, so it feels good to get out here and get some runs in when it comes to Div. Dark Zone was a little dead, sadly. I think a lot of that's got to do with proto grinding and other things of that nature. Man.
Agent down.
Yeah, right now the game is in a very interesting spot, man. With Div 2 being anywhere from a year and a half to 2 years away, I don't know, man. And then this PvP revamp, you know, over 30 something pages of nerfs and all types of stuff. I don't know, man. You know, they've shaken things up like this before. You guys remember when they went in and nerfed the values for crit chance and crit damage, and they nerfed Seska and they nerfed Grupo, and they even changed some brand sets too. So it's definitely an interesting time.
Immediate medical assistance needed.
Oh, someone just shot an explosive bow and arrow right over our heads. Yeah, lots of changes coming, man. I mean, there was a video, I want to say it was Rogue Gold, bro, who had a video. I don't know what's going on, but these NPCs ain't playing. I think he had a video where he was talking about the PvE Dark Zone, and just from what I've been hearing, it's very underwhelming. You know, taking the PvP aspect out of Dark Zone, it honestly should have been called something else. I got nothing against agents that want to go to the Dark Zone and primarily they want to focus on PvE. I've got nothing against that, but call it something else. Just like when we had Countdown. Honestly, it's basically like a Countdown in the Dark Zone. Is what it is what it is. I don't think we should have a mode in the game that's Dark Zone that eliminates all PvP aspects. To me, that's just not the Dark Zone, man. It's just not. Um, but that's the direction the devs are going. I don't agree with it, nor do I really like it all that much. I mean, again, 98% of the game is PvE. You know, to keep on altering and making changes, you know, to please the majority. Ooh, nice. I'll take those. It's crazy to me, man. We are aware that the PvP community is a very small percentage of the overall community and division, but that doesn't mean that, you know, they should be forgotten or screwed over in any type of way, shape, or form, man. And that's kind of like what I've been picking up with a lot of these recent things, and the lack of, you know what I mean? No new DZs, no real PvP balancing, no way to keep the cheaters in place. You know, you got a lot of things that just have not been existent for PvP, and it kind of sucks, man. You know, despite all the negative controversy that goes on in DZ and the cheating and the bullshit, there are some good engagements that you have with people who aren't cheating, and they're just there to have a good time. They're not there to talk crazy to you or make you feel less than. They just want to get out there and they want to fight. That's what the Dark Zone is all about. Not to say you gotta go in there and try to eliminate every agent you see. Some of us do. Shout out to them Triple T members. But again, you know, we're really chill, cool people. A lot of people that have fought us have found that out later on. Like, oh man, these Triple T guys aren't bad. You know what I mean? And we're not. It just really sucks to see like PvP and the Dark Zone again. If you guys have been around a while, you know Dark Zone is pretty much the reason why I got involved in Div 1 in the first place. You know, the PvE was cool, the missions was cool, but it was the Dark Zone. That feeling of not knowing what's gonna happen and, you know, battling agents. And the PvE was pretty serious too, bro. If you guys remember, man. Midtown, the Pit, DZ 5 and 6. Come on, man. Like, if you know, you know. That was just a different time, man. We never had a looter shooter extraction game anything like Division, man. Had some games that was close, but just the lure of everything was just different, man. I don't know. They're getting hit by fire bullets here. Tier 10 is no easy feat, man. You know, their damage is an extra 500%. You know, their armor is an extra 800. 800% extra armor, 800% extra health. And you guys have seen, like in past streams, you know, a lot of the times I'm out running with different groups, random groups, whatever the case may be. You know, we'll be out here for hours with little to no communication and just really get through the content, man. Showing people that, hey, you can get out here. And that's actually going to lead us into our next conversation when it comes to escalation matchmaking. Okay. There's a huge problem right now, that being that the devs have a system set up where the host takes all the risks and he gets the least amount of reward, which is crazy to me. What this has done to the community is it's turned a lot of people, even so-called allies, against one another. I mean, I've even had some fallout with some agents over very similar matters. And oh my God, don't be matchmaking. You're matchmaking, you join a group. As soon as you join a group, if they don't make you the lead, they'll just, you know, disable the group. And this makes matchmaking even more difficult. It's already difficult running tier 10s, which is the hardest difficulty in the game. So that right there is already a challenge within itself, because there's not a whole lot of people who can do them efficiently. I think a lot of people feel like because they've done it before, they can do just any tier 10. not realizing that the reason you got through it could have been the kinds of people you were playing with. So that doesn't necessarily mean that they could go out and knock out tier 10s, but that's the common misconception that a lot of agents have. And that's why you see the amount of groups getting wiped that are getting wiped. And I get it. People don't want to lose their coins. But because the devs did not handle this situation properly, because they didn't think this shit through before releasing this new game mode, us as agents, the ones that make up the community, this would be the active players, PvE and or PvP, we have to go in and kind of govern ourselves, so to speak, right? How do we do that? Well, this group that I joined, that you currently see me in, Mo was the group leader. We knocked out a 9. You see we're currently doing a 10. I told my buddy to make me the host. And then when we finish this, either Anthony or Tigerian are going to be the host. I recommend, if you're in a group, randoms or not, that you get together and you just rotate host after every completion. That's going to be the only civilized way to do it, because anything outside of that, you're just going to have people join. And you know what really sucks, I'll tell you guys another thing, because that's not 100%. It's not 100% foolproof, and I'll tell you why. Every now and again we'll get someone in the group, and when it's their turn to be host, they leave the group. GG's. You know, I gotta go, my house is on fire. You know what I mean? The kids just came home from school. It's like, bro, it's 11 o'clock at night. You know, all of a sudden you got to talk to the missus. You know, those types of excuses, that type of shit. So, I mean, when you run into those people, what I would say to you agents, don't play with them. You know, if they're true friends and allies, they wouldn't try to fuck you over on one run on an escalation. That's how I look at it. And unfortunately, that's why some of the situations with me has ended the way it did. If I've got someone on my list that I consider a true ally, a friend, an agent, and it comes down to an escalation run, and we've all been hosts, and it comes time for you to be host, and you mysteriously have to take off and disappear, well, that'd probably be your last time playing with us. Just to put it simple, man. And it's really not worth it. If you're with a decent stack, and this is my advice to all you guys, if you're in a decent stack, randoms or not, just rotate hosts, man. Trust me. It's much better to stay in a group that's capable of doing the content than trying to matchmake and hope for the best and prepare for the worst just because you want to keep some tokens. You know what I mean? It just doesn't make sense. And again, as far as us as a community, we should not have to do this, man. We should not have. But unfortunately, this is the situation that the devs have put us in, bro. You understand? So, we kind of got to govern ourselves and hold ourselves responsible, which in reality, as players, we should be more focused on the experience and just having a good time, not having to worry about swapping hosts and keeping up with who ran this and who ran that. I mean, it's just, you know, it's BS, man, to be honest. And it's unfortunate that we have to do this, but this is where we are. Until they put a fix in the game to where all 4 players, and this is how it honestly should have been anyway. It should have been all 4 players pay the equal amount. So to run a 10, it's 87. What I'd recommend is either, you know, I wouldn't say raise it, but drop it to 80. You know, make tier 10 80 and make every player in the group have to pay the 25%. And also, if they lose, they all have to pay the 25% penalty for losing. You understand? So that's going to be the 80 coins that you wager. So that's minus 20 per player. If someone DCs or, you know, quits the match, same thing. Same thing. That person forfeits their 20 tokens. This will stop people from leaving as well. And I don't know when they did this, but apparently, you know, you can kick people after the countdown is started, which brings me to my next situation. There's times where agents are playing with people, and because, you know, maybe a friend or a clan member gets on, they kicked the people that was in the group. You know, that's not right, man. That's BS. You know what I mean? And I don't, again, I don't know why they would have changed it to that. Headshot, okay. These rolls aren't bad. Um, but I don't know why they, you know, because when you start most, like, I believe the incursions and the raids, and I don't run many raids and incursions these days, but I believe both of those, once they start, you can't kick or remove somebody. So I don't know why, you know, that's even an option. Once you start the escalation, you should not be able to kick anybody, bro. I don't. And again, this is a thing too. So just imagine, you know, you're in a random group, two or three of them are in the same clan, or maybe they're all on each other's friends list. You pull up, you come in there, and you're midway through a tier 10, and you're about to get compensated, and you get removed only for only for the nerds to try to get, you know, a friend or a clanmate in. That's crazy, man. So the devs, they really put a lot of things in this game right now that's just not fair to the player base or the community at all, man. It's just, oh shit. It's just not fair. Um, Focus on this real quick here. Alright, he's down. Again, guys, tier 10, the hardest difficulty in the game. You see us out here doing work, no communication. BTW. Oh, just slap the hell out of my boy here. Get him up. But I don't understand. I like escalation needs a lot of love right now. You know, a lot of love. I just, and I don't believe it was always that way. I believe it was when you started the escalation. You didn't have the option to vote to remove or just outright kick a player. But a lot of these things, because there wasn't much thought put into it, you know, much give a fuck. The community has just been at each other's throats, man. I've never seen so much toxicity and hostility on the PvE side in this game up until like the last couple months. It was crap. I thought it was bad when Iron Horse and Dark Hours was out. Oh no. Oh no, man. The stories that I've heard, and these things I'm sharing with you, you know, some of these stories, unfortunately, I have experienced, but some of these horror stories are just from other agents that I know. A lot of people having trouble and issues, you know, matchmaking or, you know, being exploited for tokens. There's stories where they're telling me that, hey, you know, they'll pull up in a stack, and as soon as they join, I understand they're the fourth person to join this stack, and as soon as they join, the guys in there tell them to pay for the mission. Basically, trying to extort them for their tokens. I'm just like, man, this is crazy. You know, it's almost gotten to the point where if you don't know people, clanmates and or just allies, you're just at the mercy of the community, man. And to me, that's crazy. Been overseas. Okay. You know what? I've only been playing escalations for about a month. You know, I hadn't played it when it first came out just because of the amount of bugs that they had going on, man. There's just a lot of things wrong with it. You know, you had gear being deleted. You had missions like freezing up, glitching up. There was just a lot wrong with escalation, and there's a few content creators who have kind of put the devs on blast when it comes to you know, the mode not being ready to be released and them begging and pleading with their devs not